My name is Piero Taloni. I'm a graduate assistant at the University of Wyoming. I was invited by Flute New Music Consortium to do a composer interview, and today I have the honor to introduce Robert Denham, 2016 Composition Contest winner with On the Departure of a Loved One for flute and piano. So, hi Robert, how are you?
Doing well. How are you, Piero?
I'm good. Can we start by you telling us a little bit about yourself?
Certainly. I'm a native to the San Francisco Bay Area of California, and I grew up there and spent probably 20 years of my life there, and then came down and attended Biola University as a trumpet performance major, so that's my background instrumentally.
Uh-huh.
While I was working on my trumpet performance degree and freelancing as a trumpet player in the Los Angeles area, I became interested in composition, entered a few contests that were just within the school itself, and placed in those contests and became very excited about composition. And so that caused me to start thinking that maybe I would like to go into that as a profession. Lots of my friends were kind of pushing me towards that, and so I went ahead and explored that, and I did my MA in composition at UCLA, and then went on to the University of Cincinnati College Conservatory of Music, CCM, for my doctorate in composition. At that point, I adjuncted at a few universities, but then moved on to teach full-time at West Texas A&M, and I was there for just a year, after which I moved on to Biola University, and this is my 10th year at Biola University, serving as the area coordinator for theory and composition. So I teach composition here at Biola. We have a department of about 30 composition majors, so it's a thriving department. It's great. We're really excited about what we have here.
Nice. So I loved On the Departure of a Loved One.
Thank
I
you.
know it comes from a concerto you wrote, right?
Yes, that's right.
Can you tell us about the inspirations behind it and your compositional process?
Certainly. Well, the background for the piece is, first of all, I was asked by a friend of mine, Brian Bensing, who's labeled there as the person I dedicated this to. He asked me to write him a concerto so that he could play that with the Cambrian Symphony. He's part of that symphony up in San Jose. And I was short on time, but had to produce something for a particular concert that we were coming up. So I thought, why not kill two birds with one stone? I'll write the middle movement of the concerto and go ahead and write it just for piano and flute at that moment. And so, because it was the second movement, it didn't take me as long to write. The faster movements have more notes, and so they take a longer time to write it and to format it and everything. So that's why I started with the second movement. I love the second movements, particularly of the Barber concertos. Samuel Barber wrote several concertos: piano concerto, cello concerto, violin concerto. That middle movement right there just seems to be an opportunity for him to express things that are more intimate, more close to his heart, sorrow, grief, things that are more personal, I think, because of course the first movement of a concerto is usually breaking the audience in. It's not really bringing up anything terribly controversial or terribly emotional, usually anyway. But that middle movement, framed as it is between the outer movements, is an opportunity to do that. So I think all of us have at some point in our lives, if we've lived long enough, we've lost loved ones. And for me, my father died about 6 years ago. At the time that I wrote this, it was more like 4 years prior. And so that was just kind of a thought that was lingering as I was processing that.
Okay, so going back to you as a composer,
Mm-hmm.
who has most inspired you as a composer?
Well, I would say that if I was stuck on a desert island and I had one composer to listen to,
Mhm.
and only one, then I would say that they would be J.S. Bach. But I wouldn't say that he is my favorite composer. I would say that my favorite composer is Benjamin Britten. I really love his operas, Peter Grimes, Billy Budd, and so forth. The work that he's done with the voice, and that he worked with Peter Pears on things like Serenade and Nocturnes. Just really love that style. I feel as though his music speaks on a variety of levels. People who don't have a lot of experience listening to new music, they can appreciate his music. But also people who do have a lot of experience listening to new music, there's a lot of interesting texture, there's depth, there's kind of a profound nature to what he does that really makes it intriguing even to the diehard theorist, if you will. You know, somebody who wants to really dig, they'll find nuggets of interest there. And so that's been very inspiring to me. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't have him on my desert island because I would be afraid of getting bored of, you know, listening to the same composer over and over again. If I had to do that, it would be Bach. But as far as who I admire the most, I think it would be his music in particular. There's others. Stravinsky is a favorite. I really admire the music of Ravel. I think that his music is phenomenal. Then more recently, I'm attracted to the minimalist school with John Adams and so forth. I think that he's got quite a bit of color in his music. And also that as a minimalist or post-minimalist, whatever you want to call him, his music has evolved so much more over the course of his lifetime than it has with some of the other minimalists. Philip Glass, for instance, has stayed relatively close to where he was, whereas John Adams has morphed throughout his career.
Mm-hmm. So since you've mentioned Bach, can you tell us about SDG?
Certainly. Yeah, J.S. Bach would always, maybe not always, but oftentimes he would put that at the bottom of his music, and it stands for Soli Deo Gloria, so to God alone be the glory. Bach was very spiritual. He was very mindful of the fact that God had given him his talents, as opposed to Bach was not great just because he was great. The gifts had been given to him, and I think he was trying to say to draw more attention to God than to Bach himself, the person. And so I've put that on the bottom of my music, not to slap anybody in the face with it. I'm really not trying to do that, but just to remind myself more than anything, this is not mine. This is something that I believe that the Lord has given, and it's not something for me to hold in anybody's face and say, look what I did. Because honestly, going back to talking about as a composer, when you're looking at a blank piece of staff paper and there's nothing on it, there's a feeling of terror that actually fills your heart at that point, because I'm not sure what I'm going to write, and I know I have to write something. When people ask me how I compose, my honest answer is I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure how those notes get on there, but I've been through the process enough times to see it happen. I always start my composition process actually with prayer. So I commit it over to the Lord. Different people have their different methods, I understand, but that's just my way of dedicating it to God.
Nice. So what do you like and what do you find challenging about writing for flute?
Well, in terms of flute music, I've written several pieces that either feature the flute as a solo instrument or just heavily involve the flute. Mm-hmm. Cindy with Pacific Symphony, can't remember her last name at the moment, but I worked with Pacific Symphony on a project, and she just kind of encouraged me. She said, hey, you write really well for the flute, you should write a concerto. So partially this concerto comes out of that as well, encouragement. I've found that if I try to write something that I think a flute cannot play or a flutist cannot play, that they always prove me wrong. Mm-hmm. It's almost as though flautists can play anything. No, I know that, of course, there are limits to how many notes you can fit within a certain beat, certain unit of time. And yet, it's such an acrobatic instrument that if you know how to notate septuplets and non-uplets and things like that, like, once again, Ravel did so well in so many ways. If you are able to notate that, you can really express yourself with a lot of decoration. The ornaments that you can achieve, the frills that you can put on the music, it's just wonderful to be able to dance like that. Mm-hmm. I think, of course, the issue with the flute is in certain parts of the register you really have to watch for the balance, and you have to be careful of the other instruments involved, particularly with a full orchestra, not overpowering the instrument. So that's something that the flute concerto for orchestra has been performed just once, and that's something that I'm still watching for with each subsequent performance, watching for balance. And is it the orchestra that needs to fix things, or is it me, the composer, that needs to fix things, to thin it out a little bit? Or it could possibly be both.
Mm-hmm. Can you tell us about other pieces you wrote for flute?
Certainly. Well, one of the first mature works that I wrote was for solo flute, and it's called Two Soliloquies. It's two just monologues, if you will, for solo flute. The flute concerto is in 3 movements, and that's, I don't think I mentioned this, it is available in piano reduction, the entire thing is. I mentioned that to you before.
Yes.
But then other pieces that involve the flute, I wrote an oratorio called Under the Shadow, and it features the flute and piccolo quite a bit in there. There's a lot of decorative patterns that are floating around on top of it. Then a lot of chamber pieces. I've got a lot of wind ensemble music that, of course, the flute plays a pretty important part there. But as far as solo works, just the 2 soliloquies for solo flute, and then this concerto would be the only pieces that feature the flute for the entire time. Oh, you know what? I lied. It's kind of nice to be able to get to this point of life where you forget that you've written certain pieces. So there's actually a piece for alto flute called The Lament of Aeneas. And that's got an interesting story behind it because, of course, everybody has heard of Purcell's Dido and Aeneas, right? And the lament of Dido, Dido's lament. This is kind of Aeneas's response to that. He gets to have a lament as well. But this is for alto flute, and that's also available either for piano and alto flute or for orchestra and alto flute. So, yeah, I forgot about that one. Sorry.
So can you tell us your website and other ways to contact you?
Sure. My website is robertdenham.com. And the best way to get in touch with me is by email. So that's available on the website. It's robert.denham@Biola. Biola is Biola. It's the name of the school that I work at. The website, as of this moment, is currently being reconfigured, but it should be fixed and all set to go very soon. Lament of Aeneas, if anybody's interested in that, that's published by Falls House Press. And so you could look for that for both the piano reduction version or the full orchestra version there. At present, I've published the flute concerto through my own company, and that's Hog Island Press. So if anybody is interested in getting copies of that, either the reduction or the full orchestra version, they should just contact me directly. And that, once again, is robert.denham@biola.edu.